Welcome in episode number 183 of The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. If you saw the video from last week, you may be saying, man, doesn't he own other clothes? Can't he cycle through his wardrobe? I can, but I recorded episode 182 and 183, the intro, on the same day, way back on December the 20th. And that is because the office shut down from Christmas through New Year's, soft return date of January 2nd, hard return date for everybody January 6th. And so, because everybody's going to be out and I'm in California and everybody else is, wherever they're going to be, I recorded the episodes, intros back to back. But I want to take this time as we get close to the new year. I think this might be coming out on New Year's or New Year's Eve. But I just want to take this time to say thank you to everybody for another exceptional year of this podcast. And look, there are a number of people to thank. I'll start with the man that is right now behind the camera shooting this, Jordan Lynn, who has been the video guru of the St. Paul Saints, but really was at the forefront, at the ground level of when this podcast started. And when I went to him over 3.5 years ago, can you believe it's been that long? And I said, look, I'm thinking about doing this. Can you help me get it set up? Can you help me get it off the ground? Can you give me some ideas? He was instrumental in that, and I can't thank him enough. This podcast would not be nearly as successful as it would have been if it had not been for him. It was his idea to do these video openings as well, so I greatly thank him. Zach Neubauer, who oftentimes is the man behind the camera shooting these. I want to thank him for taking his time out of his day here at the office. He has been Jordan's assistant here with the Saints for the last year or so in a full-time role, and prior to that in a part-time role for another 6 months or so. So I want to thank him as well. Look, many thanks to J.W. Cox. J.W. knows how I feel about him. I told you a few weeks ago that he's coming back as my part-time broadcast assistant. He is someone that over the last 6 years as my broadcast assistant has turned into a true friend and someone that cuts all the audio intros together. He cuts the episodes together. He adds the play-by-play calls at the end, and so he is really instrumental in what this podcast has turned out to be. So many thanks to JW. And really a thank you to the St. Paul Saints. They allow me to leave the office really whenever I want to during the workday to go do many of these interviews that I have to get done. I went to our general manager, Derek Scherer, probably 4 years ago now and said, look, I have this idea. Are you okay with it? I'm probably going to have to up and leave for a couple hours during the day. Did not hesitate, did not question my dedication to the Saints, and said, yes, by all means, go ahead and do it. And finally, to the tens of thousands, coming upon hundreds of thousands of people that have downloaded this podcast, that have listened to either one episode or 183 episodes, I thank you very much. I hear from so many new people every week that they have either tuned in or that they have let somebody else know about this podcast. I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this. You guys are really the ones that I do this for, because trust me, there have been a number of times along this way where I'm like, well, you know what, I could stop now and we could call it good and look at the lineage of guests that I've had, but it is you that have pushed me to continue going, because I hear from so many people and I'm like, well, I don't want to let those people down. Because, then what? They're going to have to listen to one of the other billion podcasts that are out there. So I greatly appreciate everybody that has tuned in and listened or recommended it to somebody else. So thank you to everybody in this new year that we get set in 2020. With that said, let's get to episode number 183. It is Todd Graffagnini of the New Orleans Pelicans. Brand new guy, green behind the ears in terms of first NBA job. Now, not green behind the ears in terms of what he has done. Tulane University, he spent many years doing that, and so he was gracious enough to take his time on the second night of a back-to-back, which is very hard to get a broadcaster. We sat down at the hotel that the team stays at. Some very interesting stories, including this was a guy that was growing up dreaming of wanting to be a baseball player, got into a pretty horrific car crash, and that really ended his baseball career. And so we talk about that and a number of other things as well over the course of our sit-down chat. If you've not subscribed to the podcast, you can do so wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to rate us and then follow us on social media. Twitter, @TheVoiceBTV. Facebook, facebook.com/TheVoiceBTV. You can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. All right, let's get to it. Episode number 183 with Todd Graffagnini of the New Orleans Pelicans. JW, Happy New Year, my friend. Roll the open.
So we were out the night after Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and we were coming home. We were out. My buddy, who was at West Point, was driving the car. I was in the front seat. Another buddy of mine was lying in the back. This is 5 a.m, and my buddy who was driving the car fell asleep at the wheel. We were on the interstate driving back into New Orleans. He fell asleep at the wheel. We drifted off the side of the road, and if you can believe it, there was a parked car on the side of the interstate where the guy had just pulled over like 5 minutes before, and we smashed into the back of that car going about 65 miles an hour.